The Biden administration and Democrats are trying to tie Republicans and conservative media to the Buffalo supermarket shooter, the guy who killed 10 people, using the great replacement theory to brand them as racist. And joining us now to talk about this and a lot more is former HUD Secretary, renowned neurosurgeon, also founder and chairman of the American Cornerstone Institute. And if that's not enough, he's got another thing. He is the author of another great book. It is called Created Equal: The Painful Past, Confusing Present, and Hopeful Future of Race in America. The wonderful Dr. Ben Carson. Dr. Carson, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you, Rita. Always great to be with you.
Always love having you, and I'm so glad to get your take. You know, you talk about race relations, your story in your book. And boy, it seems like every time there's any issue, the Democrats point to racism. It was shocking. Even this week, we saw the president doing it. We saw his press secretary doing it. What do you make of this, using this and basically also saying Republicans are that? I mean, to me, that's such a horrible term.
Well, it really is sad, but you can always expect the left to accuse you of what they're guilty of. That's a given. But, you know, what's really racist is keeping people dependent and, you know, determining how people are supposed to think. You know, when President Biden said, if you're having trouble deciding between me and Donald Trump, you ain't black. Why does he get to decide who's black? You know, there's sort of this right that a lot of people on the left think that they have to define how other people should think and how they should behave. And, you know, what's really racist is not looking at our educational system and how it's funded and keeping people who are poor in bad educational situations so that they don't climb out of that situation. Those are the things we should be looking at. You know, this guy in Buffalo, you know, he's way off the end of the chart, you know, very much like Derek Chauvin was with the George case. You know, that was, this guy is in no way representative of policemen. And yet they tried to make it seem like this was an everyday occurrence. And now they're trying to make it seem like because this relatively unstable guy comes in and commits a horrendous act, that somehow you can take that and make it into a broad application for those who you disagree with.
Yeah, you're right. It's atrocious. And obviously, he was filled with hate. There were a lot of warning signs, too, a lot of red flags, so many things in that case. You know, Dr. Carson, President Biden is facing a lot of backlash. He visited Buffalo, but he refused to visit the scene of the Christmas parade attack in Waukesha, Wisconsin. He also didn't come to New York, you know, after the shootings of the 2 police officers. He came soon afterwards, but he didn't come to the funerals. And a reporter asked the new White House press secretary about this sort of disparity. Take a listen.
He has visited many other communities. Buffalo is not the first community, sadly, that he has to go up to because of a violent attack. So, you know, that's not the first one. So he's been to many others.
But Dr. Ben Carson, he seems to be selectively deciding which cases he wants to focus on. Even in New York, you know, the subway shooter, he didn't come to New York. That was a horrible, horrible instance. There's so many of these cases. I think it's good, by the way, that he went to Buffalo, but I think he should be going to many of these things, not picking and choosing. What's your take?
Well, I would hate to be his press secretary. Let me just put it that way. That's got to be a very hard job to try to spin all these things. And I don't think people are really listening to that. People can see that there's selective outrage, selective interest. All of these things have been happening for quite some time, particularly with the current administration. And it's not necessarily a Democrat or Republican thing. It's a politician thing. And what we need are people in leadership who actually have the interest of the people at heart, not the interest of their party, not their political aspiration, but what about the people? I can tell you, if somebody like that were to come along, I think the people would be extraordinarily happy.
Yeah, they would be, because people have common sense. I 1,000% agree. Dr. Ben Carson, again, everybody, it's a great book, Created Equal. Make sure you check it out. Such an important story, and your life story is such an inspiration. So great to have you here, my friend. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Absolutely.